Hi there, and welcome to the Curious Collective podcast. Conversations designed for the veteran and first responder community to bring awareness to those holistic practices that help us live our best life. So tap into the wisdom and knowledge of our guests to heal, transform, and live as your true soulful self. Now, listeners, we are cracking triple figures today with the most amazing human. Episode 100 brings to you the amazing Katie, who, if by chance this happens, thank you, synchronicities of the universe. I came across her profile on Instagram through a friend and thought, who is this woman and why do I not know her yet? And straight away connected with her. And I think we've met in a past life. We're like soul sisters. I'm like, yes, me too. Are you in my head? But I would love to ask you your first question, gorgeous soul, which is please introduce yourself to our listeners and what it is that you're doing in the world right now.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on episode 100. This is very, very exciting. And I'm so grateful that we connected and that you found me. My name's Katie Sonntag, and I'm a women's empowerment coach. I absolutely love to see women thrive, and especially high performing women who also haven't quite mastered the being. They're very good at doing and the discipline and getting everything done and achieving high things, but they're still missing that ability to be in their feminine and allow themselves to rest and rejuvenate and be in their creative magnetism, which is
Mm.
so beautiful and juicy when you get to see women do that, and then allow themselves to still be able to do all the things but also be in the feeling and connected to themselves and just absolutely loving the joy and everything that that brings to them in their
Mm.
body, in their mind, in their soul, in all of the beautiful aspects of life.
I
And
love that. Even just that part you talked about sitting in that juiciness is it's such a foreign landscape for people from our background, like service connected, and which I'd love you to talk into just, where you've come from,
yeah,
because when you do discover that, and I only have in the last 7 years, I'm like, yes, where have you been all my life?
yeah, it's actually wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, background being an army physical training instructor, and I've been in the army for over 13 years. So being in a very structured, male-dominated, military sense, as most of you will know, or even first responders and all the things, it's very like you do the thing and you keep moving forward. And if you just keep doing it and you keep being in your masculine or your doing energy, then you get somewhere, right? And it's a place where it's not really about your feelings. You're not allowed to be in your emotions or sit with what you feel because that's just not really, we move past that, right? That's not really needed. We don't really do that. So it's like being in the juiciness of like allowing emotions is like a
Mm.
really big first part because it's like allowing ourselves to be angry, to be sad, to feel into all the things that a lot of us have actually, pent up over our service as well. So it's not just about feeling it in the moment of having those emotions, but it's a lot of it is releasing so much that we've held on to because we've been so good at moving forward and doing the thing and suppressing it. And so it's just beautiful to see when you see women, I especially work with women. So seeing them release that and just like be with themselves and actually figure out who they are
Mm.
without being told who they are. So
Mm.
I think it's really beautiful when they get to feel into their body and allow themselves to know what actually honors them and
Mm.
who they want to be and what they want to do. And put that with allowing themselves, they already know the other side. So it's like
Mm.
we just get to be in that beautiful energy and that body and actually realize that we're led all our lives through our intuition and our body if we allow ourselves to be with that. And it's
Mm.
really beautiful what opportunities and things that can be created from being in that absolutely beautiful embodied just self, like whatever
Yeah.
that looks like.
There's two things that have come up for me as you're speaking then, and I'm like yesing along to it all, is um someone said to me recently, we're human beings, not human doings. And I loved that. So I'd love you to talk into that
Wow.
firstly. But then also, I love and I understand because I've experienced it, the beauty of sitting in that embodiment, right? However, having been in the military for a very long time, also, I suppress like a boss and I was a queen at it. But now, this feeling part, it can be uncomfortable, but it's about surrendering to the discomfort. So, as good as it feels, I'd like you to talk into that part that isn't that great, but why it's juicy.
Yeah. So much there. So with the first part of, we're not here to do, it's so true. Yet we're in a society that's built for that, right? Especially in the veteran, like all of that. We're literally going into something that's set up as almost like, and it's gonna, maybe not everyone will agree with this connotation, but like a prison, because it's like you're literally being told where to go, what to do, where to step, what to, how to get to where you want to go, which is progressing in rank or all of these things, right? And so we're doing and doing and doing. And like you said, once we first get into being, it can be so scary because we've been so used to a way of living or being told where to go and what to do that when we actually get into our bodies, it's a really scary thing because it's like, oh my gosh, it's just so foreign and
Mm.
unknown to me. And it doesn't always feel amazing. Like you're not going to be like, I get into my body and be like, oh, I feel epic. You're going to be like, oh my God, all of this that I have suppressed and all of this that I have
Contraction.
literally, you're just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And there's so many times when that happens, right? Like there's so many times on this journey for me too, where I've been like, oh, fuck no, that's
Yeah.
like it's not for me. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to feel that. I'm happy to go back to what I was doing because I'm not aware of it and I don't need to know what
Yeah,
that
let's breathe and sing.
was.
That's fun.
Let's be in the happiness of it. It's all fine. I'm totally okay. Like,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it definitely takes a bit, right? Like the first
Mm.
time it is scary and it can be scary for a couple of times after that, but it's about allowing yourself to also not overwhelm yourself and do everything at
Mm.
once. You're not trying to clear every bit of, trauma or every bit of emotion or everything at one time.
Mm.
And I think that's what happens is sometimes when we go into it, we sit in it too long and it becomes sort of a thing where we're stuck and
Mm.
we can't get out of it. And so it's like we just get to be with, the starting of being in our body could just be even as simple as like, touching your skin and just like
Yeah.
actually being with your body. Like you don't have to go into the
Feel
depth,
like the sensation of the skin being touched.
right?
Mm.
And even the senses. So like even eating, just being aware of like the flavors or,
Mm.
all of those sorts of things, or listening to music and allowing your body to sort of just move with the sounds. Like it doesn't have to go into the intensity
Mm.
of extreme emotion straight away. We get to slowly allow ourselves to be more comfortable in the space before
Mm.
we get to the big stuff.
I love that you said that. Three C's are coming up for me, right? Comfortable, compassion is another one. It'll come to me. However, compassion. I feel like we need to have compassion for ourselves if we choose to go down this path. And I'd love you to talk into that, is because, the other C was comparison. I've
Mm.
found us as military and first responder women sometimes compare the journeys of others as, oh, it needs to look like that. No. So please share your insights on what you've experienced so far and also for your clients.
Yeah, compassion is massive. It is the
Huge.
first thing. Like, honestly, first of all, we have to be aware, as we all know, of the thoughts, feelings, all the things that are going on with us before we can even come into any sort of healing. But the awareness can be the fact that it can be really confronting or it can be a little bit too much. So it's like when we become aware, how do we just give ourselves more love?
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And
There's
then that's
no
okay, right? That's okay.
yeah, and we get to look at the times when we've guilt or shamed ourselves and be like, I'm going to give it love instead of going into shame, instead of going
Yes.
into guilt. I'm giving myself love, and that honestly is where we can start. We
Yeah.
don't need to go any further, for that to start with, because it is being in that compassion. Because even when you get the depth of those emotions, like you need that compassion for yourself, otherwise you're not coming back.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
really stuck there and you need to be able to just show yourself the love because we can't also expect it to come from people around us. We
Yeah.
need to know that we are giving ourselves love even though we've done that, like even though we've shamed ourselves, even though we've put ourselves in guilt. It's like I love myself and I'm going to keep showing myself love and
Mm.
compassion. every day, even though I may still be in those loops or I may still
Mm,
be, living that.
mm.
And so that's the biggest bit. Like that is my,
Huge.
yeah, that is where I start with all my clients. Like it's
Yeah.
like, let's just have compassion for ourselves. And honestly, that changes everything for people because
Yeah.
it's the basis of everything that we do. If we have compassion for ourselves when we do things that are great and not great and all of the things, then everything changes because
Hmm.
instead of going into those guilt shame stories, we're like, oh, I love me and that's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay that I do that. I'm human. Like I'm going to stuff it up. I'm going to not be perfect. And it's that we get to rewrite, which is so
Mm.
beautiful.
And
So
that's why I'm here on Earth School to live this earthly experience and do those things, right?
absolutely, yeah. And we get to learn from them and we get to experience life that way.
Mm.
And if we don't do things and fuck things up, then we're not going to experience the
Mm.
things that we need to learn to be able to keep moving forward in our life's purpose, whatever
Yeah,
that
I
is.
love that. And I found something that was really pivotal for me was when I just started saying, oh, that's interesting to myself. If
Mm,
I recognized or was aware of a pattern that was coming up for me and perhaps how I interacted with my family or, someone that was crossing a boundary, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then either reflect on it in the moment or come back to it and have that self-reflection of how I reacted or responded or, yeah, but
that's
always have compassion in there.
so beautiful though, because you're being curious with
Mm,
yourself, right? You're
mm.
curious about what's coming up, and you just get to be with that in a beautiful, playful curiosity way instead of it being serious or bad or good or
Yes.
any of those.
Labeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's so beautiful.
What about this comparison piece? Have you noticed people doing that? Like, oh, I need a five-step process in order to feel better. I need it to look like that one over there.
Absolutely. I mean, being in fitness,
Oh,
comparison
yeah.
is the name of the game, right? No, I think it's a really interesting piece, and especially, I mean, I've lived this as well with fitness, my fitness story, and
Yeah.
even in business when you come in, like there's so many people doing so many amazing things, right? And
Mm,
and there's so many people that have moved to these beautiful, maybe you're after you desire certain things and they've got them, or and how did they get there? And I have to get there as quick as possible. And if they have the magic sauce, then I'm going to go work with them. And I think it's the killer of joy
yes.
comparison,
Yes.
literally, because all you do is become consumed in wanting to be them, and you're consumed in them, not in you.
You
So it's
use that lose that individuality and that authentic magnetic piece that is like you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not you. You're then just competing and you're just looking around all the time to see how you can grab from other people. And, yeah, you don't have the magnetism. Like people
Yeah.
aren't going to feel you and get to know you. They're just going to feel other people from you because you've just kind of grabbed from left, right, and center and tried to be like them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't honor who you are as a person.
Yeah, I heard a beautiful quote that fits this perfectly. It's follow the path, not the person. So it's like always the path is back to the self, right? Which is all of your beautiful work too. And you can definitely look at people that inspire you around you and draw from that, but not without losing who you are and who you want to show up as. And on the healing path, this is what we're specifically talking about with your work and mine is that knowing your internal compass so you can sort of go in the direction that you're drawn to. So, how do you keep the women that you currently work with on their path back to self?
It's a lot about coming back to the body. I'm really big on the body. I love mindset shifts and mindset work, but a lot of it's held in
Yeah,
our body.
beautiful.
And so for me, it's all about how do we keep coming back? How do we keep reconnecting in?
Mm,
And that can look different, right? It could be like tapping, it could be breath work, it could be energy stuff because I do like energy healing and things. So that also is about connecting to spirit because obviously there are the three planes, right? So there's obviously the mind, body, and the spirit. So it's being able to work in those three planes and allow them to balance you out really, and it's like not getting stuck in any of them particularly for a long period of time. So a lot of it is just like if people are in the mind, which is what a lot of the women that I work with, just really about connecting with their body. It's
mm.
coming back and being like, what is your body telling you? Like what, when
And that question in itself can be such a foreign concept. When you were originally told that, can you remember the point when someone said that to you? What was your reaction?
like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, what
Same.
do you think? Like, because yeah, you're like, cool story, like thanks, but I don't know. I'm not connected there. Like I don't know, and I'm like, it's funny because you've been in the gym and you get a lot of women who are like, oh yeah, but I'm like working out. I'm like, yeah, but what is your body telling you? And they're like,
Mm.
I don't know. But, yeah, just because you work on your body in the gym doesn't mean you're connected to it.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
good bypass, the gym. Sometimes bypass can slip you into that masculine go, 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 do, push, push, push energy and lose it. Like I originally remember doing one of those yin yoga classes where you just at me back then, this is about 8 years ago, I'm laying there going, God, this is such a waste of time. I'm not even moving or stretching. Like, why am I here? The
yeah.
dialogue was crazy. And then now I love it. I'm like, oh, yin me up.
Isn't that beautiful though, as well, to see the difference in when you first started
Mm,
and like how the mind can be so, can really take over. And then it's like when you now do it, you're like, wow, like
mm.
this is what, and that's the change in you. That's not the change in the yin. The yin
Yeah,
yoga is still the
yeah,
same, but
yeah.
it's the beautiful progression of you and being able to get into your body. And this is the thing,
Mm,
right? It doesn't happen straight away.
mm.
It is a beautiful journey of reconnecting, coming back in, and that's really the beautiful thing about working with women is that I get to be with them, and when they are in that state, I get to support them in coming back. It's
Yeah,
just like re-reminding them and being there to just be like, okay, let's come back, let's come back into the body. Not every time they'll sometimes still be in their head and be like, and then other times, they're like, oh, I actually felt something today, or that was
yeah.
really cool, or I had a
Beautiful.
sensation in my hand, or, like all of these beautiful things. And all those little things I celebrate as massive wins because I'm
Huge.
like, this is a big deal. Like maybe to you right now, being a high performing woman, you don't think so, but it's like, it is a massive deal
Mm,
because you didn't feel that before.
hmm.
It's like just allowing that to be celebrated and honored as the journey goes on. So then when they get to the, like you think the final yin or the,
Yeah,
doing it now, and then they're like, oh, it all led to this.
yeah, yeah. I'd love to pose a question to you from my own personal experience. I'd love to hear for you. Is like, I get to points now within the work I'm doing where I think back to perhaps when the seed was first planted for me and I didn't pick it up and I was just in, I don't know, another plane. And I
Mm.
think, oh, imagine if I back then had of my husband bought me this thing to go and do kinesiology but 10 years ago. And I love kinesiology now. I love the work. Honor the people that do it. But this fellow, he was getting me to tap my head and do all these things and hold these empty glass vials with cord. I know what it is now, but back then I'm like, what? This guy's a quack. Like he's lost his tiny brain. What is happening here? Marcus has wasted all his money. Do you think back to times when you've had seeds planted or been introduced to this work when you weren't ready yet?
Yeah, I think mine is a little different. I hit sort of like 10 years in army and I was like, I want anything to get out.
Mm.
So I tried everything out of a bit of a desperation thing and I was open and like give me all the things. I don't need to get it. I didn't obviously always think it was good. Like I was like, what? I don't get what this is doing. But I was like, yeah, I think back and I think because when I got to that point, I was so ready to try anything. I didn't care. I was like,
Mm.
I was just do it. Like I remember going to this and I dragged my friend along to this breath work session and I didn't realize but it was an inner child thing as well. I didn't know what any of that was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're just going to breath work. We're going to breathe. It's going to be lovely. My friend's like, okay, I'll come with you. And anyway, we get there and they're like, oh, get your picture out of your child, like when you were a child. And I was like, I don't have a picture of when I was a child. What? And then, and I laughed and she was like, neither do I. She was like, you brought me to an inner child thing. And she'd done that stuff. So she was like, why? I hate this stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, so sorry. Not really, because here we are. And anyway, managed to get my mum to send me a photo. Anyway, I'm doing this breath work and I'm crying and I'm a
Mm.
complete mess on the floor. They're like, I think they're almost like, is she okay to leave? Like, I was just like releasing so many things because I was like, I'm here to just
Yeah.
whatever this is fully.
Fully leaning in, like
Yeah,
let
I was like, I'm in. And I was like crying and doing all the things and writing to myself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I'm just like a full mess. And yeah, the guy at the end, I remember, he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. But I've just like given you everything. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I don't know what I want to do with my life. I know the army is not for me anymore.
Mm.
Um, and I just need to do something.
And
So
that how did you get to the point where you realized that you were out of alignment with army and it wasn't for you anymore? Like what was that?
yeah, I think it was a long time coming, but I think it was really at a point where always wanted to do something else with my life. I didn't really know what that was, so I went to uni, failed uni, and then like tried psychology, sociology, tried to do it together, all the things. Just as I'd changed jobs to be
Mm.
a PTI, so really good timing, of lots of learning. Yeah, just kind of can't help myself. I
Smash
have to
me
keep going. Yeah, like I can do all the
all
things.
at once yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, right? And then so failed at that, and then that was obviously like, oh my gosh, because most of my family like have been to uni and done all the things, and so that was the path I thought I was meant to go into next. And
Yeah.
then I got to 10 years, and I'd always planned to get out at 10 years. I'd had this thought of like, once I hit it, I get my long service, I get to
Mm.
leave. And I remember sitting in the chair at work on the day of my 10 years, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? I was like in a pit, and I was
Mm.
just like, what the actual? And my boss at the time was my PDI at Kapuka.
Oh well.
Circle moment. Yeah, yeah. And he was like, and I'd just come out of major burnout. And so he was pretty much holding a shell of a human anyway. I wasn't really there, but he had known me for so many years that he was just like, it's okay. He brought me back. He'd make me train again, get me back into everything. And that
Mm.
was when I got to a point where I was like, I can actually do something now because I've been in burnout for so long. I wasn't able
Yeah.
to function. And I think that was the big key was being through that and loving what I was doing for the women at Kapuka. Like I was doing a pre-recruit program at the time and I was obsessed with it.
Mm.
I'd run over 4 hours of 5 hours of PT a day and I was just super obsessed with these women and it was a lot about the psychosocial, all the things I love in people.
Mm.
I got to, be with them for 7 weeks, but I struggled to let it go, which is what made me go into burnout as well.
Mm.
And so I was just a mess, and I'd been through, just a really tough time with rank, and just like had a really rough ending to that posting.
Mm.
And so when I got to Sydney with my new posting, I was just, yeah, I wasn't really here. And so my boss was so beautiful because he was supporting me, but then I'd hit my 10 years and I was like, what am I doing? Like, am I going to go back to another posting where I'm going to burn out like that? Am I
Yeah.
let myself do that again? I have to change it because no one else can. And so that's why I think it got to a point where I was like, I have to do anything and
Mm.
everything. I'm just going to sign up for stuff I don't even know. Like, I was like, signed up with a
The weirder the better.
yeah, I was like, a tarot card reader, great. I'm gonna get a reading. Like, and I was like, oh, a breathwork thing,
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take my friend. Like, I just honestly was so like, I know I need to change, but I have no idea what that looks like. And
Yeah. So you were exploring. I love that. You were curious. I love that.
yeah, so curious to the point where I was like, I don't even need to know what it says. Like I didn't even read it. I just was like,
Next minute, you're
breathwork.
taking psychedelics and drifting through the clouds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I wasn't in the army, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just super open and curious. And I think, yeah, I was just at a point where I was broken. And I think it just meant that I was so desperate to find anything that I
Mm.
was just so curious about everything. And it was great.
So you felt broken, so you went off exploring. When you went off in this exploratory phase, I call it my seeking phase,
Yeah.
what did you find that really resonated for you?
Oh, so many things. I think so. The tarot card reading is the fun story of my existence
Yeah,
because
go tell it.
I had this reading with this lady, Australian in Bali. Love her. Actually, just got a reading from her the other day again because I still connect with her. But she was like, "I'd love to offer you energy healing," and I was like, "What is energy healing?" I was like, "Okay, whatever. Sounds great." She's like, "I don't normally do it, but I'm opening. I'll open it up to you." And she's like, "I just feel called," and I was like, "Great, let's do it. Like, I'm all in."
Yeah.
And I was like with her for a session, and all of a sudden I was like, I want to do something. And I was talking to her about it. She was like, have you ever thought of coaching? And I was like, oh, I have, but I've been adverse to it because I'm like, what is it?
Coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I was like, coach,
Yeah, same.
gross. I was like, ooh.
We don't have to be that gross person though, but that's what we initially thought. Yeah.
Literally, that's what I was like. And she was like, I need you to be open. And I was like, okay, gotcha, gotcha. I was like, okay. And so she spoke to me about it because she was a coach and like she wasn't just a healer, but like she was a coach and she spoke to me about it. And obviously she was kind of coaching me anyway. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do a process with you. We're going to work through some stuff. And then all of a sudden I was like, come back a couple of sessions later, and I was like, I want to coach and I want a accreditation course so I can get my certifications. All of a sudden, the next day after our session on Instagram, both of them popped up and I just signed up. And I
Instagram was listening.
literally, and I was like, I don't know anything about these people. I signed up to a coach and just did a short course with her before I cut to feel it out because I was
Yeah,
like,
nice.
yeah, I want to know if she's
You got to do that.
yeah. But she was ex-military as well, which was
Oh,
quite
wow.
yeah, so I was like, this is a sign. As soon as I saw that, I was like, look, this is a sign I get to just step in for a short course, see how I like it. And that lasted
Absolutely.
2 years. And then and then I got a coaching accreditation, an American one, which was amazing. And so at the time, I just posted into a new unit and I told my boss, and he conveniently, of course, I mean, it's
Thanks,
all
universe.
yeah, he actually had gotten out, had a business with his wife, and got back in. So he absolutely was so supportive
Oh,
and so
wow.
excited. And he is my boss at the moment now, I guess, because I'm technically not officially transferred over. But yeah, he has been the most supportive human and of divinely guided to be with me on this journey of my business. So
Oh, so good to have people around that understand where you're at and are able to value add. Yes.
yeah.
Oh, see, you've been rewarded.
I have, yes. I've been so, yeah, it's been so beautiful, the whole journey, and to share it with them. And like, I knew that I couldn't progress in army. Like this was like a gift from army to have him as my boss. Like it was just like when that happened, because I was also on the precipice of like, do I start my business and just leave? Um,
Yeah.
and then I was like, no, I've been supported here and I'm in a place where I get to grow for a few years and then I get to this be my last posting and
Oh,
I get
I love that. I love that so much. And I've just met you. Yes, such beautiful timing. So good.
so
So, I know that you are going to be back on this podcast many times because we have lots of conversations to have. However, just for today, I would love you to feel into, say, there's veterans first responders listening in that have loved what you've shared so far, and they're like very curious. They're going, what is this energy healing? Maybe I need to try breath work, or maybe, all the questions. If someone was just peeping through the door, looking into this world we now know and love, like what advice do you have for them?
I think the best thing is to go with someone you feel that you relate with and trust. Like, and take your time. You don't have to go straight into these things. Like, go with something that actually pops up, and you're just like, if you intuitively, and if you may not know what that feels like, if you just feel pulled, or if you have any sort of excitement over something, or if it keeps coming up and you're like, why do I keep seeing this?
Yeah.
You just get to lean into it when you're ready. I think this is the
Mm,
other part of it is like not everyone is ready, and that's the beauty of this, right? Like, and it's beautiful they have this podcast to listen to and they get to keep consuming and allowing themselves to be in what works for them, because I think it's everyone's own journey for that. So it's like you get to find out more if you're curious about, information, or you get to just jump in like me and be like, I have no idea what this is, but I'm just gonna jump in and hope for the best.
mm,
But I think it's really about the person, to be honest. Like, I think that makes a really big difference in the connection and in the experience.
mm,
I found that I've been super grateful and super lucky to have coaches and people that have been just beautiful to work with in those
mm.
spaces. And I think that is just as important as the modality itself,
Yeah.
because it's what they possess and their codes and what they hold in them that is what you receive
Mm,
through the divine. And so it's just beautiful to feel safe and nourished in that space, and like you
Mm.
have a good understanding and you're ready for it.
Such juicy, juicy, juicy wisdom there. So I would love to add to that and go, I hear safety, very important. Feel safe, feel yeah, held. So a good coach or mentor will hold the space for you. So if you feel you're not ready to navigate it on your own yet, find that person that you're drawn to. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears as
Yeah.
you experienced, right? So be curious, be open, and be, call it in. Say, I'm ready for change, like Katie did, and it will come. And there's one other piece that I was very important to me, and you said it. The codes. Now, a lot of our listeners aren't going to really understand that yet, but I would love to just touch on it because it's so important to me. And how I personally learnt about it was a beautiful friend of mine presented it as you might hear something someone says, and it's one piece of the puzzle. They've just told you something and you don't fully understand it yet, but you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then you might be listening to a song or, reading a book or chatting to your child or husband or whatever, and that give you the other piece of the code. And chunk, it clicks in, and you're like, and you have this epiphany where you're like, oh, that just dropped in. I need to do this, or I need to speak to Katie, or I need to go to Sydney, or something will come to you. And that's because you have just received two parts of the code. I'd love to hear your way that you would explain what the codes are.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said. And I absolutely, that is how it is. Like every day you're receiving messages from everyone in your life. From this podcast, you will receive certain things that some other people might receive other things. From, like you said, music, from your partner, from your kids, from friends, from random things that are said to
Mm,
you, and that will click. And that is beautiful, a beautiful code coming together. It also is in the way that people have different codes in themselves that they also give to you. So it's like that could be a gift in a healer, that could be a gift in a coach. Some people are really good at holding space, some people are really good at giving you more energy, some people are really good. Like they all have their things. So it's like you get to see what you would like and you get to receive that from the person who
mm,
has it. So they're
mm,
embodied in it. So to me, that's the transaction of the code in the healing slash coaching journey
mm,
is like, what do they possess or do they embody that you would like to also have? And that's what they get to teach you. So that's the beauty of why there's so many incredible coaches and healers and facilitators is we all have different things to give the world. And
yeah.
that's so important and so beautiful that you receive what you need or want from that person who is the person that
Mm.
holds that for you.
I love that. And you know what? I'm even going to talk into the shadow of this is at times I have been drawn to particular coaches or containers where I've gone in and it initially has felt really yes, full body yes, leaning in. But then when I've gotten in there, I've been like, oh, why am I here? Like, what is this? But in that, there is a learning. Like there was a reason I was drawn to it. There was a reason I was there. So I have in the past stayed in these places and gone, what is here for me? What have I been drawn here for? And then sat with that. So have you also had that happen, or can you speak into it from what I've shared?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is really important. I mean, I feel like I've been super lucky in that I haven't had that, but I also have had moments of that with coaches that I've also been in with.
Yeah.
So it's like where maybe we don't agree, maybe we have a bit of, confrontation, maybe, there's a point where like I've got resistance and I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Like,
Yes.
but no thanks. Like, cool story, don't want to know, moving on. Like,
Delete.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, Katie, obviously a reason you need to receive this, like sit in it. And it was what you talked about it before, the curiosity, right?
Mm,
Like just being curious of why am I here? What do I get to learn from that? That's beautiful in itself because we learn just as much from the experiences that aren't serving us. Like the army
mm,
taught me so much, and there were so many pieces that did serve me to get to me where I am today, and so many pieces that didn't that I'm like,
mm,
oh my gosh,
mm.
but they made me the woman I am today. So it's
Yes.
like Yeah, so that's the thing, right? We get to be curious about all those facets because, yeah, you can
Mm,
join a container and be like, what am I doing here? But it's like, what am I learning from this? Like,
mhm.
and that's beautiful, like you just said, like that curiosity piece in life.
Introspection.
Oh, which is fun, right? Sometimes, and you're like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, yeah. So, last question, and this is a huge one for me recently, is I had someone a couple of months back say to me, "Oh, I would love for you to come on my podcast." And I was like, initial thought, what have I got to talk about, right? And then so I sat with that. It was a military history one. And I'm like, I need to sit with my whole career from when I joined to now and look at what I have actually done. In doing that, like you just spoke into, is like, the army gifted you so many lessons. Oh my God, it just opened so much for me. And I'm like, I had literally blocked out 5 years of my military career and forgotten all about it because I was so in my masculine that I'm like, go, 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 do, 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 push, 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 suppress, suppress, suppress it. When I unpacked it, I'm like, oh. So have you spent time with your career and sat and just gone, wow, okay, that was a lesson. Oh, that was interesting. How did I navigate that? What did I do in this? Have you played with that yet?
Yes. Not, I definitely have more. There's more that I get to go back to because there's definitely things I haven't unpacked. But there's been recently, I am actually co-authoring a book with Diane. And so I spoke into my burnout experience
Mm.
of military and everything I was going through at the time. And I was like, wow, writing that was one, very confronting. I cried a lot. And then two, I was like, oh, I had not sat with it. And
Mm.
even when we did an edit, like rereading it and being with it and realizing just, where I was at that time and how, I could have more appreciation of the situation with everyone once I'd obviously stepped out from it.
Mm.
And I was like, it taught me so much. It literally made me, because it was just before I got promoted. So to be the sergeant that I am today with the corporal that I have, that would not have been possible without that experience. So
Mm.
I learned how to lead even deeper and be more vulnerable in my leadership and be open and just not suppress stuff and be like, if some days I was like, I wasn't feeling great, I was like, hey, love, today's a day where I'm just not feeling amazing, like, and I just need to let you know. So if I do, say something or do something, just know that maybe it's not to do with you. And she was like, oh, that's really handy. And then to watch her become a leader and will get promoted soon is like so beautiful because I, from that experience, I created my own leadership and then
Mm.
I got to create another woman to be an incredible leader and lead vulnerably. So, yeah, I think when you do go back in that, it's so beautiful.
Oh my God. And listeners, coming up in the future is a podcast episode with Katie and I talking into vulnerability and leadership, writing it down right now. Um, so that's a whole nother podcast in itself. We have so much to explore there. Oh my gosh. I did a post recently on LinkedIn and it was about my style of leadership when I was a recruit instructor at Kapuka. People used to call me
Mm.
Corporal Cuddles because I didn't approach the way that I instructed in the same way as others, but I was okay with that, right? So it was a whole post around what that looked like. And geez, the comments are interesting. So if you're on LinkedIn, find me, listeners, and have a look at the comments because it was an eye opener. There were some people that had resistance to what I had posted, and that was their own reflections being brought through. And there were some that were like, I would like this, and it kind of was an inspirational piece. So, yes, can we do an episode on that?
Absolutely. I would love to talk about Kapuka as well. That was a huge eye opener for me being an instructor from a recruit. So
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. Oh, so much goodness here. So, listeners, we're going to wrap up this particular episode, but we're going to have this beautiful woman back. So, thank you, Katie, so much for your time here on episode 100. And we look forward to having you in the future. Any final words for our listeners?
Go out, be bold, be brave, and listen to your taps on the shoulder.
Oh, yes. Cannot put any more to that. It was perfect. Thank you so much, Katie. Katie out.